right, you entered a plea to count one. You entered a plea of no contest to the offense of aggravated robbery. Punishment is to be assessed at 10 years in the prison. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. The state is opposing your application for deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, sir.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No,
Defense?
Your Honor.
Any witnesses, state?
No,
Defense?
Your Honor. Only allocution.
All right. State you're opposed
Yes,
and why?
Your Honor, it's mainly due to the defendant's criminal history. He does have 2 prior felonies here in Bearden County. And he does have an extensive history out of the state in Louisiana. So it's mainly on criminal history, Judge.
All right. Defense?
May I present his allocution in writing? I've shown it to the prosecutor already.
And no objection, Judge.
All right. Yes, you may. And just give me a moment to read this.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Callahan.
You know, there's a mental health factor in this case, and you can see that in the PSI. Draw your attention to page 9. If he would profit, and so would society if you would give him supervision. He's motivated because now he has a child. To change his life. He's also pushing 40. That's another motivation. The victim in this case was not injured, was threatened, but not injured. And his property was returned to him. I asked the court to consider deferred adjudication with mixed supervision. In the alternative, I asked for 180 days in jail before the imposition of deferred adjudication. I think he would like to say a few words to the court himself.
All right. Would you like to speak? Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Name is Claudel Dwayne Kearney.
All right. Defense?
May he narrate, Your Honor?
Yes, if there's an objection from the state, you may.
Your Honor, I know what I did wrong, and I'm terribly sorry for disrespecting the court by coming up in this place. And I recently lost 2 jobs, and I was hit by an 18-wheeler inside of an Uber, and that's how I lost both of my jobs. And I ventured off to go into the streets, and that was my intention was not to. This guy was my friend at first, and it wasn't my fault that I got hit by this 18-wheeler and lost both of my jobs. But I just want to say that if I could right my wrongs and to try to pay restitutions, and furthermost, I just recently found out I have a child, ma'am, and I came all the way from New Orleans just to try to find her, and I found her, and I deeply apologize, Ms. Boyd, if I know my record is bad, and I'm a good person. I come from a military family, and it's about accountability and holding myself accountable. If I'm wrong, I know what I did, but if I can fix it, man, I have one chance just to fix it. That's all I'm asking.
Anything further?
And recently my brother just passed away, who I stay with. He went to sleep and never woke back up. He had a heart attack. And my little cousin, I just missed both of their funerals, man. I'm sitting in this jailhouse, and I'm realizing how many people is passing away, and time does not stop when you come to a place like this. And I'm tired of my conscience is eating up at me for what I did wrong. But this the hand that I had chose, this the bed that I chose to lay in. And if I can fix it with the victim and help him out as well to try to pay it forward, man, I will. And I will be sure to do that and try to. And also, I don't have the one to look after my child no more, man. My brother was there for her. He was a school teacher. And I come from a nice, beautiful family, man.
So because you come from a nice, beautiful family, why are you here?
I'm here.
No, I mean, why are you? Because I've looked at your criminal history. why are you say you have a military family, you say you come from a good family. So I don't understand why you're making the choices that you're making in your life. Why are you making these choices? Because you had a choice.
Yes, ma'am.
Buy your phone or take somebody else's phone. You chose to take somebody else's phone.
You know what crazy part is? I had a phone on me that day, ma'am. I had my own phone.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to figure out why you're making these choices.
It was a foolish mistake.
And how old are you?
I just turned 38, ma'am, November 15th.
All right, so there are no excuses. Like, what's the excuse for taking a phone and you say you already had a phone?
We had, me and Mr. Ted, we had got into it, and it was a foolish mistake. I should never did it.
No, it was a choice, not a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm trying to figure out, why are you making these choices? You tell me you come from a good family. You have a military family. You now have a daughter in your life, and you came all the way here to find your daughter. You find your daughter, and then you're making these choices.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out why.
Okay. I had lost my job, both of them. I was working at Taco Bell in a Ford warehouse, ma'am. And me and my little brother, the one that recently passed away, got into it, and he put me out, and I really didn't have nowhere to go. I was on the streets, ma'am.
What about your sisters?
My sisters, once I have 9 brothers and sisters, once you do one person something wrong in my family, the entire family mad at me. And I didn't have nowhere to go, ma'am. And I went back to the streets, and that was the worst thing I should have never did in my life, man.
All right, is there anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state judge.
All right, what are you requesting?
Nick Miles supervision, Your Honor, and deferred adjudication has, but in the alternative, 180 days in jail as a condition of deferred adjudication.
And state, what are you requesting?
We're opposed to the application for deferred adjudication. We're asking that it was a 10 opposed, that you oppose that.
Okay. All right, probation.
Yes, Judge.
And this is just because I love to have more information than not information. This is not saying I'm going to rule one way or the other. Can you explain why DDRF is saying that he does not meet their targeted population? But according to the report I'm reading, it says in 2003, he was in DDRF.
Your Honor, those are reviewed on a yearly basis. So in 2003, he may have met, and now he does not. I'll look more into the case. Can I have a name, please?
It's Claudel Carney. All right, everyone have a seat. I'm gonna think about this.
May I address the court vote?
Yes,
It's 2022-23, not
2003. All right. Thank you. All right, so Mr. Trevino, your counsel has filed a motion to withdraw as your attorney. And counsel, you're saying there's a breakdown in communication?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, is this breakdown, you're giving him advice and he doesn't want to follow it?
I think it's more than that, Your Honor. Yes, he has 3 misdemeanors as well. Judge Menace withdrew me on those cases, and when he tells me I'm dismissed, then I don't think we can.
All right, so here's the thing. You are in felony court. Today is your plea deadline date. As a defendant, people think their rights are, oh, I get to decide how this case is going to be tried. I get to decide strategy. I get to decide this and that. No, you do not. The only thing that you get to decide as someone who's accused of a crime is whether or not you're going to testify, whether or not you're going to accept a plea, whether or not you're going to the judge or jury for punishment, whether or not, as I previously stated, you're going to remain silent, which means you're not going to testify. You don't get to decide how The motion's your attorney file. You don't get to decide how your attorney files your case. Do you understand? Or tries your case. Do you understand? So what I need to know from you, have you received an offer from the state?
No.
All right, so go back.
Yes,
All right, if
it
you'll,
received an offer.
if you'll retell them what the offer is, counselor, and then you need to let me know whether or not you're accepting that offer or not.
Accepting any.
All right, so you want a jury trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'll hear your motion to withdraw, counsel. Court is calling 2023 CR 4277, State of Texas versus Christopher Martin Trevino. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
Stephen Harkowitz.
All right, and are you Mr. Trevino?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, counsel, you filed a motion to withdraw. What is your reason for the motion to withdraw?
There's been a breakdown in, the ability to communicate with Mr. Trevino to the point where, for example, yesterday I sent him some reminders. He didn't respond to them. When we were in misdemeanor court a few weeks ago, he told me I was dismissed. So, and I don't believe that, we're gonna be able to repair the attorney-client relationship to the point that I can effectively continue to represent Mr. Trevino. So I'm asking the court to withdraw me as his attorney and, appoint him an attorney that perhaps he can, have a better relationship with.
All right, are you gonna hire an attorney? Because that's what you'll need to do.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, motion to withdraw is denied. I'm gonna recall this for next week. You need to have an attorney hired. Do you understand? All right. We are going to recall this. Norma, can you recall this for February 15th? All right, you need to have an attorney at that time.
And this
You
is for the
understand?
deadline.
Hmm?
This is for the deadline still, or?
On February 15th, you will either have hired or retained an attorney, and that attorney will come in here on February 15th, or either this will be your attorney. Do you understand?
But I'm saying, did you do the jury trial yet? Or we're gonna wait till the attorney's
Oh, do
present?
you want to go to the jury trial with this attorney? Because we can arrange
Oh,
for a
that's what
jury
it's for.
trial
Okay.
today.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, they're gonna come back on the 15th. And Mr. Trevino, and we're off the record, Mr. Trevino, if you do not communicate with your attorney, guess what?
I do communicate.
No, listen to me. If you do not communicate with your attorney and communicate with your attorney respectfully, guess what's gonna end up happening? You're gonna go to jury trial with an attorney that you have not communicated with respectfully and you have not talked to. Do you understand?
What
All
if it's
right.
the other way around, though, Judge?
Hmm?
What if it's the other way around? What if I'm the one trying to communicate and I'm
Oh.
not getting no response?
Oh, well, here we go. He's here right now. You're here.
I
You all
already tried
can
talking
talk.
outside. He didn't want to do anything I
Here's the
said.
thing. You're here right now. He's here. I'm sure he will speak to you. So just have a seat and he will speak with you. Okay? She only pled to one case. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And if I could address the court on our quandaries.
What is your quandary?
The PSI indicates that there's a recommendation for DDRF.
Mhm.
But she hasn't completed the second part of that assessment. The second recommendation would be for safety. The third recommendation is regular probation with outpatient
All
treatment.
right, the court can consider all those things.
I understand. She has talked to a gentleman from Haven for Hope, and he has qualified her for inpatient treatment there. So in talking with probation, because she has another assessment to do for DDRF, we didn't know if the court was ready to rule today.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, court is calling 2022 CR 5618, State of Texas versus Cassandra Valdez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
Judith Wemmert for the defendant.
All right, and are you Miss Cassandra Luisa Valdez? All right, you're here for sentencing. You entered a plea on January 24th. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishments be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's no application for deferred adjudication. The state is recommending community supervision, and there's restitution. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report?
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report from the state of the defense?
No, Your Honor, not state.
The defense has objection to the restitution, and we'd like a hearing on the restitution issues. They're a little sketchy.
All right. So before we proceed, the question for the court is, why should I follow this plea? So before we get to restitution, why should I follow a plea bargain agreement when she has several unauthorized use of vehicles? And then a new one, I guess, that was just indicted. And I have destruction of property. And she's pled to the possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams. And there are several cases that are being taken in consideration. So the question for the court is, why should I follow this plea?
I can't speak for the state. This was their offer, and we, of course, accepted it because it is a very good offer. Excuse me. As the court probably noted in the narrative of the PSI, Ms. Valdez has had less than a blissful childhood. And yes, she is a grown adult, but we all know that what happens in our childhood often carries over to our mental and other well-being as adults. She's already lost custody of her 5 children. She has no family support whatsoever. She obviously struggles with mental health, being diagnosed when she was a teenager with bipolar, PTSD, and anxiety and various other things. And as the court is well aware, the way that a lot of people who don't have a good support system deal with mental illness is alcohol and other substance abuse, which leads to criminal activity, that vicious cycle.
But at what point, and maybe you can answer this, Ms. Valdez, at what point it's no longer your childhood's fault, it's you making bad choices? What is the cutoff time? When we're 50, when we're 30? Because people come before me and they have mental health issues, they have drug issues. I can understand that. But what I have here is somebody who's using other people's cars. And this person is saying, and I know you, counsel, you're talking about the restitution.
Yes, ma'am.
But the fact that this vehicle has rims, tires, and built-in radio and navigation system that they're saying that was destroyed. I don't consider myself an expert, but I have brothers. And I will tell you, this $4,700 for rims, tires, and the built-in radio navigation system, that must have been an inexpensive rims, tires, built-in radio navigation system. Because I will tell you that I always do whatever comes off from the manufacturer. I don't add any extra. It is what it is. And my tires are very expensive. And they don't even have the bells and whistles that it sounds as this person has. So at what point is it not mental health? Because there are people who have mental health issues. They don't go around taking somebody's car, destroying it. Sure, let me have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Cassandra Valdez.
Yes.
Okay, if you look at my criminal record, I lost my kids 4 years ago when I picked up my first son. The reason why I lost them is I got ran over by their dad and I was in a wheelchair, and the state decided I was mentally unfit. So being a parent from 17 years old all the way to 31, 32, when I lost him, I didn't know what to do. I got into the wrong crowd. I thought people were my friends. I listened to them.
Okay, let me just tell you, if the other people were standing before me and they say they got into the wrong crowd and I asked them who's a part of the wrong crowd, they would say, you. And I know if Child Protective Services took your children, I know they didn't just wash their hands of you. I know, and Ms. Wimmer probably knows too, that they give you an attorney over there and they have conditions for you to follow through. And if you have mental health issues, they get somebody to help you with your mental health. If you have parenting deficiencies, they help you with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Basically, Child Protective Services, when they take your children into care, if they don't have them placed with you, basically you have a free babysitter for an entire year to get your life together.
Yes, ma'am.
So the fact that they took 5 children from you, it wasn't just because you're in a wheelchair, because there are people who are in wheelchairs who have their children. It's because you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Yes, ma'am. And now, I mean, I've realized that, and now I am in contact with them, and I do have an opportunity to be there for them and change my life.
Where are your
and,
children placed?
with their aunt.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have contact yet. And I'm not, if I follow this agreement, I'm not going to let you have contact with them yet.
Okay.
All right, you can go for it.
And I mean, I really hope. I mean, I know you're looking at that paper and I've done a lot of stupid things, but I've learned from it, and I mean, I just want a chance to do better. I haven't had a chance. And I don't, they're not for me.
Oh, it's not for anybody. I can guarantee you. People who are over in the box right now, who are in custody, all of them are saying this is not for me.
But I need help. I do need help, and I want the help. I do.
State, any questions?
No, Your
Defense?
No, ma'am.
All right, probation, what's the wait time for DDRL?
Your Honor, right now, the wait time will be
2 years?
about 10 weeks for her. It's 4 to 8 weeks for the actual wait time and anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks for medical clearance. So
We're looking at 48 weeks.
I would say 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh, you're saying 4 to 8 weeks. I thought you were saying 48
No,
weeks.
4 to 8.
All right, because I was doing the math in my head. I'm just like, we're getting into federal time. All right, is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right, if you were released, where would you be staying?
I got into the inpatient at the Hope. So I have a bed waiting for me. And they actually gave me a choice between inpatient and outpatient, and I picked the inpatient.
All right. And with regards to the restitution amount, state?
Your Honor, when stated in the PSI, the state would be requesting that be ordered.
All right, and do you want to have a restitution hearing?
Yes, ma'am. I really would. I've had some interesting experiences, and I know the court has too, along the way, with people claiming things that, for example, the rims and the tires and everything. If insurance paid, then he was compensated for the value of those items.
All right, and I will tell you what he's saying in the PSI is they were not a part of that. And usually the $4,500 rims that you put on your vehicle, usually the insurance is like, no, unless you let them know, hey, I have $4,500 worth of rims, which nobody ever does. And I can't believe, they actually have a business, Rent a Rim, so you can change out your rims every week. And those rims, people who rent them pay $200 a week for them.
I don't know anybody like that.
Yeah.
I've heard of defendant that did that.
Yeah, yeah. And the Rent a Rim place has insurance. Who would have thought you could make money by renting rims to people? All right. This is a court, we'll sentence you to 5 years in prison, suspended and probated